All right, peace, family. My name is Vonzel Simmons, and if you've been thinking about starting your very own trucking business, you're in the right place. Today, we're gonna cover everything you need to get started, from setting up your business to securing your first truck and your very first load. So before we get started, I do wanna mention that we offer a free webinar on Monday nights at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, where I break down everything from starting your business all the way to getting a load. So just go ahead and click the link below to sign up and get more information about that. First up, let's talk about what you need to start your business. Determine a name, and not only a random name, but a name available for an LLC. Once you confirm, you can move forward with branding. I recommend obtaining a domain name. You can go to GoDaddy.com to purchase a domain. You can also create a professional email address. This is very important. This separates you from other carriers by having a professional email address. The next thing is you want to separate your business from your personal. Now that you have your professional domain name for your business, now you want to go ahead and separate your business from your personal by confirming the email address that you're going to have. You also want to get a separate phone line, and then you want to get another address, right? I don't recommend using your personal home address because that is public information. So just be conscious of that. Another thing that you can do for address is using a virtual address. You can go to companies like ipostal.com, and you can also use regis.com to get a virtual address. All right, so once you establish these things, now it's time to go ahead and set up that LLC. You can set up an LLC yourself, or you can use companies like LegalZoom, and we also offer assistance with that through our mentorship program, so just keep that in mind as well. Now, once you get the LLC, you will need to get an EIN number. You can go to the government website and get that for free, so you don't have to pay anybody for that, right? And once you receive those documents, now it's time to go ahead and open up a business bank account. You can use the bank that you currently have a relationship with, or you can use like credit unions, right? Credit unions are more lenient when it comes to financing for new businesses. Now, once you open up your business bank account, I recommend that you go ahead and apply for fuel cards. We use several companies like Lowe's, Pilot, and also OTR. We also have a link in the description for you to search for fuel cards. Now, fuel cards are used sort of like credit cards. It just gives you the flexibility to pay for fuel in the future. So for an example, right, let's say if you start running your loads on Monday, you won't have to pay for fuel until the following Friday. So it just gives you a little leverage to start making some cash before you have to start to pay those fuel cards back. All right, and it will be connected to your business bank account. All right, so now that you got the fuel cards, go ahead and be proactive. If you plan on running interstate and intrastate, I say go ahead and get your toll passes, right? So just be proactive with that as well. All right, good deal. So now that you got the business foundation set up, it's time to go ahead and file for your MC and DOT number. All right, you can do this yourself. You can go to the FMSCA website, right? We also gonna have a link in the description below for that. We also offer this in the mentorship program as well. All right. Now with the FMSCA, it takes 21 business days to go ahead and process your application. So you cannot do it any time faster than that. I get that question a lot. Hey, do we have to wait to 20 business days? Absolutely, because this is the time that the FMSCA takes to process the application. Now, you're not just gonna sit on your hands while the application is being processed. We're gonna go ahead and look for a truck for you. This is the time to look for a truck. You wanna make sure that you have your financing in place, find out how much you can be qualified for. So right now, what I'm recommending my students to purchase is a 26-foot box truck, no older than 6 years older, no more than 250,000 miles, and stay between $30,000 and $40,000. I strongly recommend that you get a used truck. No need in buying a new truck because you can make the same money in that used truck, but just make sure that you take good care of your truck and maintain your maintenance. All right, so that's what we're gonna be doing during those 20 business days while your application is being processed. Also, here's a huge thing, right? You wanna make sure that you have a Cummins engine and an Allison transmission. You can get this combination in any of the trucks. You can get this in an International, you can get this combination in a Freightliner, and you can also get this combination in a Hino, right? But the Cummins engine and the Allison transmission are really the best for reliability. Now, when you're renting a truck, the same thing applies. They're usually new trucks. I recommend going through companies like Enterprise, or Penske to rent a truck, and you want to stay between $500 and $600 a week and no more than 18 cents per mile for this to really make sense for you. All right, so just keep that in mind if you're planning on renting, but the goal is to purchase, right? Do not plan on running your business with a rental truck because you want to cut the overhead down. When you're renting a truck, the overhead is much more expensive. All right, so if you don't have the capital to purchase a truck and you're just like, hey, I want to get into the game and this is your way of getting into the business, but you want to make sure that the goal is to buy your truck. All right, so make sure that you save your money as you're learning the business and then come back and buy a truck at some point on your journey. All right, so also when you're renting a truck, you want to make sure you take photos when you're picking up the truck to document the condition of the truck to avoid any issues with the rental company. You do not want to be charged for damages that you did not do on the truck. All right, so make sure that you guys document that. Make sure you take good photos of the cab, of the interior, just all around the truck. Save those documents, put them in a folder, and then make sure you have something to combat the rental company if they try to charge you for damages that you know you didn't create. Now, just want to kind of give you guys a story, something that I experienced one time. I was actually renting a truck, and when I returned the truck, they was trying to charge me for damage that I know I didn't put on a truck that was currently there when I picked it up. But because I documented, because I took photos, I was able to not be charged for the charges that they tried to put on my company. So definitely make sure that you guys take photos, make sure that you document everything. Otherwise, there's a possibility that you can be charged for damage that you did not commit. All right, so let's talk about equipment right now. Now, once you get your truck, we already went through setting up the business. We talked about getting a business bank account, filing for the LLC, getting a professional domain name so you can have the email address, things of that nature. We talked about financing. I told you what truck you should get. Now let's talk about the equipment that you're gonna need on the truck. You will need a pallet jack, right? A minimum of 5,000 pounds. You can get pallet jacks from companies like Northern Tool. You can also go on Uline. Uline is a good resource if you're trying to build business credit, right? You can go ahead and create an account with Uline, order your pallet jack, set up a Net 30 account, and then this allows you to build business credit because they will report that to DMV. All right, so that's a good tip for you guys. You're also gonna need at least 4 to 6 E-Track straps, which are easily available on Amazon, right? You can also pick those up at truck stops and things of that nature. Then you will need an ELD. I get this a lot. Will I need an ELD if I'm in a non-CDL box truck? And the answer to that is yes. You will need a electronic logging device, and you're also gonna need paper logs in your truck. Even though you have the ELD connected, you need paper logs because as truck drivers, we go through areas where there may not be service, right? So if you go through an area where there's no service for a few hours, and hypothetically, if you get pulled over by the DOT, they want to see that you're tracking your log. You can't say that I didn't have reception, right? So definitely be proactive. Have those paper logs in your truck, and you are required to have a ELD, which is an electronic logging device. I recommend companies like Motive, very user-friendly, and most of the DOT officers understand how to navigate it, right? So just makes life easier as a trucker. We're gonna link this in the description as well. You'll also need a safety vest, right? You wanna keep a safety vest in your truck. Some warehouses do require that you have a safety vest on when you enter the warehouse. You are required to have a DOT physical on file, right? So you're gonna need that DOT card in your truck, right? Even if you're a non-CDL box truck driver, you need a DOT physical on file. So now that you have your fuel cards, you have your MCN DOT number, you have all of your equipment, now you're ready to hit the road and get some loads, right? Now you can contract with companies like Amazon, who offers short-term contracts. You do have to have 6 months active authority before you can get access to Amazon. You can also do what they call white glove delivery with companies like Wayfair, Lowe's, and Home Depot. Now, 6 months active authority means that you have to have 6 months in as a driver before Amazon gives you access to their load board. right? So when I say 6 months active authority, if you file for your authority January 1 and it goes active, you won't have access to Amazon's load board until June 1st, right? So you got to have 6 months active, which means that you're running, you have experience, you've taken loads, and now they feel more comfortable giving you access to their load, right? So if Amazon is your goal, make sure that you put those 6 months in. Now, the question I get a lot of times, hey, what do I do in those 6 months? And like I mentioned earlier, you can get with companies like Amazon, Lowe's, or Home Depot, or you can go OTR, which stands for over the road, right? This is probably the easiest entry into the industry. Now, going over the road will require you to connect with a dispatcher. Now, you can use a dispatcher or you can learn to dispatch yourself. And if you want more information on learning how to dispatch, click the link below. We also have a dispatch course where we can show you how to read rates, right? How to connect with brokers and how to negotiate and put partial loads together so you can make 6 figures in your box truck business. Now, keep in mind, it's really important to really learn how to read the load board and also how to dispatch, because keep in mind, this is your business. No one's going to run your business the way you're going to run your business. All right, so once you make that decision and you determine how you're going to start getting loads, you will need a navigation system for trucks, right? You don't want to use Google Maps or things like that. You want to get a trucker's navigation system. And one I recommend is Trucker Path. It's an app, it's very inexpensive. It tells you when you have low bridges, the best routes to take, and things of that nature. Now, when you're picking up a load, you want to be prepared to load yourself, right? 85 to 90% of the time, you will be loading and unloading. Make sure that you take photos of the freight as well. This is another opportunity to prevent chargebacks and things of that nature. Make sure you take photos and make sure that you strap down the load very securely so the freight doesn't move as you're traveling to your next destination and damage the goods, all right? So make sure that you do these things. Now, once you arrive at the delivery destination, make sure you understand what dock you need to pull into. This is important. You want to make sure that you know what dock you're going to pull into. After you deliver your load, make sure that you get the BOL signed. This is very important to get the bill of lading signed by the shipping manager. And something I didn't know when I started years ago is to work with a factoring company, right? A factoring company allows you to get paid the very same day or the next day at the latest. Most factoring companies, we use Single Point, right? For example, Single Point will pay you the same day as long as you submit the documents before 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, all right? Now, when you're on the road, make sure that you stay safe, make sure that you stay hydrated, and always comply with the driving laws. Running a successful box truck business is hard work, but it is worth it if you stay organized and stay proactive. And that's how you can start a box truck business in 2025. If you found this helpful, make sure that you like and subscribe. Drop any questions that you have in the comments. And now let's get your trucking business on the road. Peace.